Mr. Jonathan here with virtually BGCMC. Welcome to part 2 of how to draw Bakugo. If you missed the first video, go ahead and check the link in the description below. You can find it there. If you're ready to get started on part 2, go ahead and grab your paper, pencil, and eraser, and let's dive in. All right, let's get these details in place and finish off this drawing. We're gonna start with the hair, but I am gonna make some adjustments because looking at it still, it doesn't look quite right to me. So, well, we're gonna start with the bangs here. So we have all these shapes put in place, right? These chunks of hair. And now I would say is the fun part where we get to just add these spikes here and there and just really have fun with it. You know, if you mix up the size and shape of the spikes here, even the number of spikes, I think it makes the drawing look a little bit more interesting, right? Instead of every spike looking exactly the same, just try to have some variety in there. Okay, so I have a spike in here. And we're gonna get a bunch going all the way across here. One thing I want to change is I feel I made this chunk way too big. So I'm gonna cut it off right here. Okay, get rid of this. And also I think I went too far out to the side with these spikes. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of this one here. And then, you know, actually I'm gonna bring this one in a little bit closer as well. And then come down here like this. You know, maybe add a little extra one here before I connect it to the bangs right there. So this brings up a good point. As you're drawing, you know, the drawing kind of takes a life of its own. And one of your jobs as the artist is to look at what's going on with your drawing and make adjustments as you see fit, okay? Even now I'm seeing like this is kind of at too far of an angle for me here. So I'm going to adjust it a little bit that way. Okay, there we go. So this side is looking pretty good. I'm gonna jump over to this side over here now. Get a few spikes here. And if you're not too sure about, you'll notice I'm drawing pretty dark with these spikes right off the bat. But if you're not too sure about the placement and maybe want to test some ideas out with where to put the spikes, what shape to make and all that, draw lightly first and then see how it looks. If you don't like it, you could erase it quite easily, make those adjustments. If you do like it, then all you have to do is go back over it and then draw, make your lines darker. Add a little one in there. You know, you could even cut across the borders here. You see how this spike right here is starting, and this one I just cut across that way. Try that out, it might work for you. Coming in here, and we'll get two small ones coming out this side. One thing I'm also gonna do is these points where the spikes are going back down, they're a little bit too even for me. They're almost pretty much on the same level. So I'm gonna play around with that. I'm gonna make one, maybe this one a little bit lower, this one a little bit higher. And we're gonna see how it turns out. I think it's gonna look a lot better if I do that. Because remember, you don't want, if everything is the same, too much the same, it gets a little boring for the eye to look at. Okay, I'm even gonna shorten this one up a little bit, add a small spike in here, go up. There we go, not too bad. I'm gonna make this one go up a little higher than the last one too. And we'll get a strong cut across there. You know, you could even add a split into your spikes at the tips. And we'll go, this one, I actually want this one higher than this side. So I'm gonna cut down here. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then we'll get this spike. You see how this spike here, I'm moving all the way over here. Okay, There we go. So those chunks, they're a guideline, right? You don't have to stick to exactly how you drew them. You could see what your drawing needs and make those adjustments as you see fit. So all these guidelines here, I don't need anymore. I'm gonna get rid of them. You know, I gotta admit, and you know, don't come at me for this, but when I first started watching and reading My Hero Academia, Bakugo was probably one of my least favorite characters, right? But then after, you know, I'm all caught up with the manga right now, and after reading all that story, Bakugo, I gotta say, is in my top 5 for sure. Actually, he might be my second favorite character at this point in My Hero Academia. I don't know how you all feel about him, but I think he's a cool character. Well, now I do. Okay. It's not looking too bad. I feel like these are a little bit too far apart, or at least they're like dipping down too far. So what I'm gonna do is, let me try something here. With these two. I think the problem is these spikes are too skinny. So if I do this, there we go. Yeah, there we go. That looks a little bit better. All right, not bad. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and darken up the jawline here and the chin. The chin right now is very pointy, even the corners of the jaw. So what I'm gonna do is, as I get to those corners, I'm gonna round them out just a little bit so it's not so sharp. Okay. There we go. Darken up the edges of the ears as well. Okay. So with the eyes, they're quite simple. He has very tiny irises and pupils, okay? So the iris is gonna just be a half circle right there. I usually like to draw both irises first and then make sure they match up well. And then I'll put the pupil in. So the pupil is gonna be an even smaller half circle, and then you can shade that in. Simple, right? Okay. And with his mask, this thing is actually a mask, believe it or not. I'm gonna use this part of the circle to guide me. Now, depending on how your drawing looks, your circle might be higher or lower than mine. So it's really up to you whether you want to use it as a guide for the mask. Right? It's up to you to look at your drawing and figure out the right placement for it, because your drawing is not going to look exactly like mine. Okay, so all I did here is follow the circle, go up a little bit, and then come in to the middle of the head. Then I'm going to do the same thing on this side, following the circle, spiking up just a bit, and then connecting here. There we go. Nose is so simple. It's just a little dash going down there. And then the mouth is the same thing. All right, very nice. Let's finish the collar and the neck, and then we're gonna get to this big piece over here, which is actually part of his mask. So, you know, first I'm gonna darken up these lines here. And then the final details on the collar, what we're gonna do is put these dots here, 3 on each side. Okay, get rid of these lines that we don't need. What we also can do is, if you want to add a little bit more details and dimension to his collar, from this corner here, we could get it going like this. kind of shows it more of the 3D form of his collar if you add these details right here. You could even bring it all the way to the neck if you want. I just like to leave a little hint of it there. And you know, we got his collar coming in. He actually has a straps on his shirt that are like an X shape. So this is the top of that, what we're seeing right here, top of that X shape. Okay, collarbones, and then the muscles here on his neck. And if you want, you could look up pictures of Bakugo and complete, you know, his shoulders and all that stuff. For now, for this draw along, we're just going to keep it to the portrait. Now for these things, what are these things, you might be wondering? Well, they're part of his mask. And because I think the idea behind this in the design is because, you know, he's a very explosive, literally explosive kind of character. That's his power. He you know, he makes his sweat explode into bombs and whatnot. So I think these shapes here are just emphasizing like that explosive aspect of his character. It's kind of like the physical embodiment of explosions, right? There we go. And then, you know, he has a little spike up here as well. I was noticing as well that he has some little flares coming out right behind his ears of the mask, which I did not include in this drawing. I know even sometimes I miss some details. So what I'm gonna do is include that right now. Okay. So we're gonna put some of these in here like this. And then just come over to this side, do the same thing. Then it's going to drop down over to this side as well. Okay, so all that's left really is to, I'm going to shade in all the mask parts and then you know, do some final cleanup and the drawing will be done. We're almost there. And there we go, Bakugo from My Hero Academia. This one was a tough one, so if you're not quite getting it, don't worry about it. Just hang in there, do your best. And you know, the more you practice, the better your drawing is gonna get. So that's gonna be it. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed this one, and we'll catch you on the next one. Bye.